Hello there. Welcome to eclipse season. So eclipse season is when there's back-to-back eclipses. So we have one coming up that starts on the 24th, but it peaks on the 25th. And that is with the full moon in Libra. That's what we're going to talk about today. And then we have a total solar eclipse coming, as I'm sure you've heard. Thousands of people are going to be buying their glasses to protect their eyes and outside watching the path of the eclipse, because we won't see another one like it for another 80 years. So that total solar eclipse falls on the new moon in Aries, and that is going to happen on the 8th of April. So we have a lot of changes coming when there's two eclipses. The other interesting thing is that, if you've been watching my videos, is that the nodal axis changed last year. So for a few years in a row, we had the north and the south node in Scorpio, Taurus, and now it's in Aries and Libra. So that means since last year, it's sort of like the bigger picture is changed, right? I'm sure you felt that in 2023. It was like, what's going on? It's disorienting. What are we doing? Like, what am I supposed to be focused on now? It was sort of a weird year for a lot of people. A lot of people felt sort of lost, or like things were unraveling. And they were. So the North Node switching from Taurus to Aries is a completely different focus of life. The North Node in Taurus was a few years ago. Everyone's focused on security and loyalty and who's my people and where's my home and let's lock and load my security. It's more than that too, but that was a big focus, especially during a pandemic time. You know, who's my people, who's secure, where do I feel safe? A lot of people bought and upgraded their homes, their living spaces, their renovation. Taurus likes to be comfortable. And now it's shifted to Aries. Completely different story. Completely different story. Now, got to go back to yourself. Who am I? What am I doing here? What motivates me? It's all about being bold, being like a pioneer. It's about taking risks, jumping in and saying, I don't know why, but I feel like I've got to do this, so I'm going to do it. Without all the analysis of another sign, without the fear, without the, maybe should I do this or that? No, Aries is like jumping out of an airplane. And you just jump. You can't overthink it. You have to jump. So what a change, right? So no wonder a lot of us are feeling lost. And I'm bringing all this up because there's a huge emphasis on the North Node and on Aries planets. When you've got full moon in Libra, it's opposing Aries. When you've got a total solar eclipse in Aries, there's a lot of Aries energy. We have to understand what it is. So some Aries are going to, it represents the self. If you don't have a sense of yourself, how do you know what you're supposed to do? How do you know who you are in a relationship? How do you know that you're not just following someone else's script for you? You must have a sense of yourself, independent of anybody else's wants, desires, projections for you. And that can be very hard if you've been in a pattern of, people pleasing, empathizing with everybody, even hypervigilant, tapping into what everyone else needs and wants except yourself. So this is the thrust of what this change is about and how it's going to play out for you, how it's going to play out in the world. So today I'm going to dive into both these charts. I'm still going to do my normal analysis and readings for the eclipse, but I'm going to jump into both these charts, and we're going to do readings just for the lunar eclipse coming up. But I wanted to give you a sense what's coming for both, because the eclipse season is really like, this is a few weeks of time where you might see a lot of change in how you feel, change in direction, decision making, sudden flashes of stuff from the past coming back. It might surprise you. It might be great. If your life doesn't change that much because you're very status quo, then you're certainly going to see it in other people around you. It's like a reshifting of it's like somebody shakes the snow globe, or they move the chess pieces. And we're all feeling this, you know, we're all feeling something big is going to shift. We just can't put our finger on what it is. We may not know. It may not be revealed. You know, when it comes to all the controversy of the royals right now, we may never know what actually is happening with Kate Middleton or with affairs people have had. Will it come out? Maybe. It might not. But we all feel there's something being hidden and it isn't healthy. Let's just leave it nice and simple like that. What's happening is a lot of people's guess, including mine. I have my own feelings that there's something with her health, and it's more like on an emotional level as well as physical. But affairs, I mean, doesn't surprise me. Did I know in advance? No, I'm not trying to tap into their lives. But there's been so much of it in the news. I thought, okay, let's see what I get about it. Yeah. A lot of us have been saying for a while King Charles would not have a long reign. And I also feel that from the get-go. If his health has declined to the point where he can't do his duties within the year, that wouldn't surprise me. And if William is preparing himself to step into this role and all of a sudden there's scandal around him, what a mess, right? What a messy time. So let's get going with our chart. First of all, though, I'd like to say, if you would like any kind of reading or coaching that I offer, I'm about to revamp my offers. I do still have my classic readings up on my website, but I will be adding some other things, including services for pets, which includes pet mediumship if you've lost your animal, and also just animal communication, intuition with your animals. And I'm also, as you know, offering my Intuition Cafe. So if you'd like to join that, it's at the bottom, the link's at the bottom. It's free to join the Facebook group. And then if you're local, there's events. And I'm building online events as well. So you have to let me know if you want to come. Message me and say I'm interested online or I'm interested in person. So we're having another one of those tomorrow, if you're in the area. All right, let's get going with this chart. All right, there we go. So the full moon prenumbral lunar eclipse in Lee. Guess I ran out of characters. Libra. And this chart is cast for the Eastern time zone. So I usually put it in New York. I don't live there, but I love New York. But it's basically located in the Eastern time zone. So this means that for this eclipse coming up, the lunar eclipse, there is Capricorn as the rising sign, which puts Pluto in our first house. Now, right away, if I see an eclipse with Pluto in the rising in the first house, I'm expecting physical changes to your outward demeanor. Maybe your energy changes. People say, oh, what's changed about you? You seem like lighter. You seem more revved up. You seem, there's something like magnetic about you. There's or the opposite. Pluto can be like, there's something heavy. There's something pent up. There's something like sort of oppressive about it. You know, it all depends on the person. It can also bring physical changes, literally. Change your hair, you change your wardrobe, you change your glasses, you And unfortunately, Pluto in the first sometimes could mean an injury. So you want to be careful. You know, you suddenly limping, you suddenly have a bandage over your nose, you suddenly something's going on with your health that people can see outwardly because it's the first house and it's Pluto. Now, Capricorn typically rules the bones and teeth. So you want to be careful, even though Pluto's in Aquarius now, but it's Capricorn rising, still close enough. Pluto in Aquarius for health. It's more like your legs, your knees. Be careful of the knees, everybody. All right. So as you can see, we've got our little moon way up at the top, all alone. So there's nothing above the horizon. As I've said in other videos, planets below the horizon tend to be a little more unconscious the way they play out. Planets above are very prominent. We're more aware of them, and this is right at the top. It's not quite at the MC, which is the midheaven, but the way it's drawn, it's really quite a bit at the top, as high as it can go in the chart almost. So that moon in Libra is going to play out really strong, even though everything down here is opposing it and clustering together. That desire for harmony, that desire for peace, cries for things to be peaceful and fair, is going to be really strong with this eclipse. Does that mean we'll see any action on it? I don't know. And even if there are actions towards peace, for example, in the Middle East, because there's so much going on in the world, right? Haiti's being destroyed right now, as well as there's so much going on, but this is the one that we hear the most about, is Israel and Palestine. Will we hear some offer of peace? We might. Does it mean anything will last? It's hard to say. But there could be such a strong cry because that Libra moon is right at the top, and it's also trine Pluto in Aquarius, which lends it a lot of power. So whether it's global or whether it's in your own life, you might be super focused on what is fair. You might be super focused on your relationships because the moon in Libra cares a lot what people think. This can be a very charming moon. It can be also a very, adaptable, great for facilitating, for mediators, for negotiations with the moon in Libra, because it's going to sense what both sides want, and it's going to, it's going to want to artfully make things fair and peaceful and equal if it can. So it's a strong sensitivity for that. So that could come up in your work life, could come up with your friends. Are you going to people please? Maybe. Well, maybe it's worth it if your goal is peace, to sort of acquiesce and see other people's sides a little bit more. The other thing with the moon in Libra is that it is romantic and it is in love with love. And so the moon in Libra really wants to be in a happy relationship and a romantic relationship usually. So that is also emphasized, and that moon in Libra here is, if you can see, this is the 8th house and this is the 9th. It's right at the edge of the 8th house. So that the moon in the 8th house is a very deep position, very deep. The 8th is usually ruled by Scorpio, so death, sex, other people's money, occult, big transformations, plummeting to the depths to find the truth. Now, moon in Libra doesn't do that necessarily, but when the moon is in the 8th house, it's going to place your needs, your feelings, the way you're looking at romance, love, the way you're looking at the depth of how far should I go to really try to make peace with people around me, or blend in with people around me, or find a fair solution. Like, how far should I go with this? It does mean that moon in Libra goes deeper than usual. And the need for a love relationship then in the house of sexuality and death could also mean you really are looking for a stronger love, a more lasting love, or a very strong, passionate connection. It's very important. Very important. All right, so let's take a look then. Of course, it's opposing the sun, as full moons always do. It is also opposing Neptune. That makes it a little tougher. So the sun in Aries, as we said, is very bold, very like jumping out of the airplane. That's what I want. That's what should happen. That's what I'm going to do. I'm off to do it. See you later. You know? The moon in Libra wants to make sure everything is fair and everyone's happy first and talk to everyone about it. Well, Aries has jumped out of the plane by the time you've talked about it. So the Libra's like, what are you doing? We were going to talk about this. Aries is like, well, I just felt like I had to do it. It was just time. You guys are talking about it too much, never getting anything done. So I just did it. Libra's like, well, maybe you should have thought of everybody else before you did it, because now there's repercussions to what you've done. It's not just about you. It's like, oh, well, I'm not being selfish. I did what I feels right for me. And that's a classic Libra Aries type of dilemma. So we're going to see those, but now we're going to add Neptune to the fire. Now, Sun and Neptune together in Aries. Well, it's in Pisces. It's in Pisces, but look, it's 27 degrees, almost in Aries. It's conjunct. It's a few degrees away, even though it's in Pisces. So Neptune and the sun together, it's gonna fuel the sun. It's gonna fuel the Aries to be more idealistic about that position of I just did what I felt was right. I did it for me. I don't have to think about it. I'm following my own inner truth. There will be like a bigger sense of idealization about that. You know, it was meant for me to do that. Or it's actually, I'm helping other people because I did that, even though I did it for me. I'm helping other people by doing that. And the Libra moon's going to go, well, are you sure about that? Like, are you sure you're not just blowing your head out of proportion here with your own goals, your own agendas? Because if we want to achieve something for everybody that involves everybody, you have to include everybody. It's not about your big mission, no matter how strong you feel it. So this is a bit of the dilemma we might see in our personal lives, or maybe play out globally. Let's see what else is going on here. So is there anything else touching the moon? Well, we said Pluto is trine the moon. So again, that lends a lot of power to the position of the moon, which means to me, there will be more of a heavy lean towards the collective, the bigger picture. It's Pluto, it's an outer planet, it's Aquarius, it's about the greater good, the brotherhood, the collective energy, the tribe. It's not about the individual. It's Aries. It's not about the individual as much. Even though Pluto is making a sextile to the Aries, the stronger connection is to the moon. It's going to support weighing things out and listening to all sides. It's Pluto and Aquarius. We have to listen to everybody's perspective first, no matter how weird the perspective might be, before we do anything. So it's going to err on the side of that. It's going to want peace amongst maybe groups or people that wouldn't normally get along. So the sun and Neptune in Aries, we also have a few other things going on in Aries to emphasize it, even though they're not aspected to that moon. The North Node's in Aries right now, as I said before. So even though Aries might not feel too popular with what it said, like I feel like I have a mission, and I feel I'm sure it's the right thing I've got to do. And I have to act on it. And so I'm going to go do it. This is what's in the air for us collectively when the North Node is there. And the sun is supporting it. It's pretty close. It's 10 degrees. It's not quite conjunct, almost. It's going to get stronger after this new moon, this full moon. By the time we hit the eclipse, these are pretty much conjunct. So this whole drive of like somebody doing something for themselves without consulting the masses or consulting the group. It's a pretty big deal. And as we know, we've all been in situations where we feel we're part of a group that's going well, whether it's your family, whether it's work, whether it's a place you hang out, and one person just suddenly decides something without telling anybody. And people might feel inspired by it. They might feel betrayed by it. It's hard to say. But it tends to, it changes things up. It could break the group up. It could also inspire the group to go in another direction. So that Aries energy is just getting stronger, and it'll get stronger for the eclipse. So it depends on your personality and what you think about stuff. If you are feeling bold and ready to do something on your own and like, just watch me kind of feeling, like, I'm going to do it. I don't care. I'm doing it. And that could be something for yourself. But every time you make a change, people around you will have to reposition themselves somewhat if your energy changes or if you decide things. So there's always a collective thing going on, whether you think so or not. Even with the strongest Aries, we might see some people step up that, globally, that are very assertive. Is it leadership? Is it dictatorship? Could be either one. That Aries energy is really strong. But that North Node is where we are going towards collectively. Now, Chiron is right beside it. Now, that is conjunct the North Node. So this is even more complicated. The wounded self, the wound of a self beside the North Node. So if there were no Chiron, the North Node's in Aries, we all need to be a little more bold and adventurous. We need to know who we are more solidly. We need to act on something that we feel is true to our beliefs, true to ourselves. We need to stop overthinking it, and we need to act. But now you add Chiron there, where that is the wound. That's the collective wound. So this is really hard right now, because what we're being asked to do is where we have the greatest wound. Who am I? I don't know. I don't know what I feel passionate enough about to do. I don't have the confidence yet to still overcoming anxiety. I don't have confidence to act on the thing that I want to do, if I even know what it is. You mean I get to be myself? Really? You mean I've been pleasing people all these years? I didn't have a sense of myself enough? I didn't take care of myself enough? Oh. So that's the wound of Chiron in Aries. And Chiron is opposite the South Node in Libra. And like I said, the moon's emphasizing this Libra. So if you have a wound of self, where you put yourself last, what do you think you're going to do? It's going to emphasize the people pleasing. It's going to emphasize, well, let's just go along with the group. Let's talk about it one more time. Let's weigh things again and again and again. So do you start to feel the intensity of the Libra-Aries dynamic that's going on here? You're going to have people that are ready to like be bold, do stuff, go for it. You're going to have people hanging back, like triggered by that because they can't, they wish they could. They don't know they need to. They could be jealous. They could be inspired. They could be bitter towards you if you're out there doing what you got to do. They could be moralizing you because they're sitting in the Libra position of like, well, we have to weigh this out. We have to talk about this. We have to think of everybody else. Okay. If that's coming from a higher minded position, of course, that's good. But if that's coming from a wounded part of you, because you're afraid to do the Aries thing, so let's hang back and under the cover of let's have more meetings. That's a different thing. It's a recipe for being very passive aggressive. Okay. Let's see what else we have emphasizing the mix. So we got Mars and Pisces, no aspects. Not even conjunct Saturn, so not doing so much about that. Mars and Pisces is very watery, of course. It's the weakest position for Mars. It's going to be good at intuitively feeling things out, going with the flow. It is passive. It is not going to take a stand. It is not going to get angry. It's not going to cause a fight. So in one way, thank goodness for that, because if Mars was heating the rest of this up, it could be harder. Mars and Pisces it's gonna calm the water, or it's just gonna diffuse the fire. It's gonna be like either a wet blanket, or it could help some sort of acceptance and going with the flow, depends. There's no aspects to it, so it's very weak in the chart. Saturn and Venus are together in Pisces, though. This is a little stronger. Not really making much of an aspect. It's sextile to Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus. Still, Saturn and Venus together is usually not so easy. A friend of mine, astrologer, said years ago with Venus Saturn, he said, it's like every time I want something, the desire of Venus, Saturn comes along and raps me on the knuckles and says, no, you can't have it. So Venus and Saturn in Pisces is also, that's a difficult spot to have it. It's so internalized and mental and emotional and murky. It could be altruistic and compassionate, though. It could. It could, in its best way, be literally somebody who gives you the shirt off their back. Literally. But most of the time, because it takes a lot of inner work to get to that point where you would give the shirt off your back without any malice, without any issues going on, where it was purely given. Most of the time, Saturn and Venus is going to lead to feeling depressed, disconnected, wanting to, like, get me out of this world, please. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here on Earth. And that can lead to addictive behaviors, self-isolation, smoking, drinking too much. It's tough when you've got Pisces placements like that. The ultimate expression of Pisces is to be the lighthouse for others, to be the faith, to live your life so connected to yourself and your faith that you are just a radiant example to others, and you go with your flow and you don't worry about, you're connected to a greater collective cosmic reality than earthly laws. But we know how hard it is to be like that and live in this world. So a lot of Pisces escape and use substances or other forms of escapism. So this is tough planets. Mars, Saturn, and Venus, and Neptune all in Pisces. It's a really heavy load in Pisces. So as I said before, you're going to get some people just raring to go with all the Aries energy. You're going to get some people saying, wait a second, let's talk about this. We need to arrive at something that's fair for everybody. And then you've got a section of people that just want to shut down. It can be apathy. Yeah, I know there's all kinds of destruction going on. I'm too tired. I can't face it. Don't want to hear it. Just start scrolling. Scrolling my memes instead. I can't, and then you'll have some rare people that are doing their best to help, to give, to raise awareness or save, if you will. But I'm sort of expecting, since these planets are not aspected very strongly and they're down below, that this is more of a withdrawal kind of feeling. The other thing is all of these energies I just mentioned of Pisces are falling in the second house, which is money. So what the heck does that mean for this chart? Passivity, escapism, or altruism with money. Yeah. Sort of have a hard time pinpointing how that could actually play out in a global way. That could be a strong signal of charity. That could be, it could be strong apathy, like not showing up or giving aid where it's needed. Or it could be a huge outpouring of aid. Let's hope it's that. It's really hard to say with Pisces planets, as I mentioned. And we have over here Jupiter and Uranus, which are getting closer. They're 5 degrees away. So when Jupiter emphasizes Uranus, which it will soon, you could see some sort of, like I've said with Uranus and Taurus the whole way, it's an earth sign that hates change. And Uranus is like little grenades, little earthquakes, little landmines that go off. And when Jupiter emphasizes Uranus, I'm expecting we will see some sort of event globally. I'm not sure what, but we'll see some sort of lightning rod because it's too strong not to, especially when Taurus rules security, finances. It's in here, it's in the house of family and home and your roots. Uranus in the 4th house would be somebody pretty restless. There'd be a lot of people moving about, whether that's migration, whether that's you finding a new apartment. All right. We're going to take a look now at the total solar eclipse chart. I won't give the full analysis, but I'm going to give you a little bit of it just to prepare your mind for the eclipse season changes. So I'll share this one if I have it open. Wait 1 second. Sorry, I have to put it on my desktop to share it. I thought I did, but I think it's in my downloads. Doesn't seem to be there at all. And I did just save it. Believe me, I did. Yeah, it's not there. Okay. Try. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at our solar eclipse now. It's not opening it. Oh, here it comes. All right. Now, feast your eyes, my friends, because, you've watched so many charts with me now. Look at that. Look at how different that is. That's just crazy. Of all the charts we've looked at over the last few years, This is the most extreme. There's no aspects anywhere except this sector here. This is a huge sign, okay? So if we're in the Eastern time zone, now this one I made for Montreal specifically because I found the specific time we will be able to see it in Montreal, which is 2:17 p.m. That's when the eclipse hits the max. So that's when you're going to see the dark. Okay. You'll want to be watching before that and after that to see it pass, but that's when the moment of darkness will happen. And that's the moment that we can look at the whole thing, but I feel like you want to look at it at its max to get an idea of what's going on, what gets eclipsed, okay? So right away we see it's all clustered over here. It's all above the horizon. Thank goodness we're more aware of it. And most of it is on the right side of the chart, which is what we've said is relying on other people, teams, groups, versus individualism. Interesting. So you've got the sun and the moon in Aries, conjunct Chiron exactly. Look, 19, 19, 19, 22 seconds, 24, 24. It's perfectly aligned with Chiron. So what did we say? Now you've got the moon in Aries, which is very strong. It's not like the Libra moon, which is pulling us back to, hey, let's negotiate this. Let's talk about this one more time. Now the moon is in Aries, plus the sun that's saying, hey, man, I'm jumping out of that plane. Like now, it's happening now. I'm just doing it. Moon in Aries is very strong. I've known many people with it. It's very strong. It's very much warrior moon. It will get angry. It will call out anything that is not right. It is not afraid at all. In fact, it loves to fight. They love to fight. They love a good argument. They love a good battle. They're all in there because it's the moon. It needs to fight. It needs to be a warrior to be happy. Otherwise, they're all pent up with rage. Moon and Aries are road ragers. So if you're on the road during the eclipse, please don't. Please be careful when you're driving. Total solar eclipse in Aries, I would not want to be driving. Okay. Mercury is at 24. It's also conjunct. North node is at 15. It's also conjunct. What does that mean? It means that no matter what we've been doing and saying, those planets, all conjunct, are going to say this way, that. And it's hard to say in your life or globally what is going to happen that is so strong that it's pointing. There's no getting around it. This is a massive wake-up call. We still have these same cluster in Pisces that I told you. Mars, Saturn, Neptune. Venus will be in Aries, though. Venus moves. So we're adding Venus also to the pile in Aries. Lord help you. The fire, the singularity is so strong. Mars and Pisces, still wishy-washy, still not making much of an aspect. Mars is closer to Saturn even than last time. It's just going to put a wet blanket. Neptune not doing much either. So those planets happen to fall the Pisces planets are falling in the 8th house, which is again a house of money. Remember before? With the lunar eclipse, they're in the house of money, but the 2nd house is your personal finance, and the 8th house is other people's money. There is something going to show up, I would imagine, in the financial realm. Announcements or changes in the financial realm. And I'm sorry to say, but with those Pisces planets, I don't feel it's going to be good. Leading us thus to all of the Aries warrior side. If something happens and you need to go into a stronger mode, you tap into your warrior side and you act. So despite whatever happens that could be difficult, I would say there will be enormous response to it. This is a very active reversal kind of time, kind of feeling. Yes, and I'm going to be meditating more after this full moon in Libra. Some veils should be clearer, and it might give me a better window when we revisit this chart for the eclipse in a couple of weeks. For now, let's go back to our other chart. Refresh your mind. This is what we're dealing with now for the full moon. Much more diverse and dynamic than the eclipse. You see what I mean? The eclipse is all just clustered here. It's like 1 or 2 areas of life. Everything's concentrated. Something happens and activates, and it goes. And then people respond. This is more, there's more going on here. There's more complexity here. So let's take a look at our readings, our tarot for the full moon in Libra. And I'm using a different deck now. All right. Yeah, I wanted to burn my sage as usual. Everything's falling over. Okay, there's my lighter. I just rearranged my desk, as you can see. So I'm still getting used to how I function quickly with my new arrangement. All right, so let's take a deep breath and imagine that this sage smoke is also all around you to cleanse. And I'm just going to bless the deck as well. All right, so please show us what else is coming next. I'm not going to pull so many cards anymore for the general reading for the chart. I'm just going to pull 3, not 9 or 10. All right. What else can we expect during this full moon period? Okay, so we have the Empress. Well, because of the news, it's making me think of Kate Middleton and all of these rumors about pregnancy or an abortion or a mistress having a baby. It's essentially a motherhood card, an earth goddess. You know, her womb is the earth. So, Yeah, it's interesting because all around her shoulders is sort of like a shawl made of the oceans of fish. Makes me think, because also we're in Pisces, are we going to see something that shows up with environmentally, something that happens in the water or something that happens to the fish, something related as a theme? It's also the globe that is her belly. It's not quite clear what area of the world it's showing. Otherwise, we could tune into different countries. But the map, the globe doesn't look that clear. Where are we? It's. Hmm. Hmm. I'm hearing also like there could be things that come up during this full moon that have to do with women's rights or reproduction. How women and children might be being treated and certain things going on. Yeah, there's a lot of gentleness in this card, and so what's emphasized will be, whatever is gentle or vulnerable. All right, the next card. Oh boy, the death card. Well, don't be afraid of the death card. Whatever seems to disappear or not work out is replaced by something better with the death card. This is an interesting one because there's the illusion of a figure. There's this sort of, the sickle is there, cutting away. There's a lot of light. There's like the red hood, or almost like a hijab. It's very evocative. And then the sun shining with the trees, you're entering another dimension, and what's being cut away, whether it's the cloak, whether it's a mask, something that you've been wearing that is not meant for you anymore, all that red sort of suggests a lot of heat or blood or passion or anger. But there's a lot of soft colors in there too, and there's just so much light shining. So I would say there might be like something that makes you feel you have to shed something in yourself. Maybe you have to reveal more of who you are and stop hiding who you are. Maybe you need to uncover and discover who you are underneath a lot of layers of cloaks, things that you don't want to wear anymore. It could be your role in your family, in your work. It could be many things, but don't be afraid of this death card. It's a beautiful transformation, this one. And finally, we have the Five of Wands as our last card. Now, the Five of Wands, as you can see, there's 5 people going in 5 different directions. The wands are all crisscrossing. At the top, the guy looks like he's going to set things on fire. Others are thrown to the bottom, looking for a way to get up. Others are distracted. Some are helping each other. Some are. Usually this is sort of like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. There's too many things at play. It's not going to be productive. It's hard to get a group all together. Now, what did we say about the moon in Libra that would like the moon in Libra would like everybody to just sit up and sit in a circle and talk about it. But the Aries is the guy setting things on fire with a helper, regardless of what's going on around him. So how would you put those together? Well, the Empress would be a nurturer, would be like a mother, would like hold space for everybody, would like be trying to take care of everybody. And then the Five of Wands is the result, which is like everybody's to themselves. You can't control it. So the Death card or the rebirth could be something to do with us letting go of what we have control over and don't. If in any way you're doing that with other people, yeah. It's sort of disconcerting, isn't it, as a truth? We would love to think that there would be more order and fairness, but it might be leading us towards some things are bigger than us and I have to let it go. I can't control it. I can only control me at best. It's very interesting reading. So let's talk about what your reading will be for your sign with this full moon. So we're going to go through each sign. Literally, I'm just going to pull a card for what's going to happen. How's the full moon playing out for you? Okay. So, Aries, this will be quite an intense time for you, for Aries and for Libras, for Cancers and Capricorns too, because this axis of Aries Libra is going to activate all of us. All right, Aries, how's this full moon playing out for you? Didn't plan that. Okay, Aries, you get the Death card. So there's things that you need to remove or cut away or break free from. It's rebirth, okay? It's not just death, it's rebirth, written right on there. You might need to wear the red cloak and protect your light. You know, this person here, this figure, could easily just cloak in red and we wouldn't see anything that's going on. How vast this person's mind and ideas or potential is could be hidden. It's also possible that you might need to remove the red cloak and let yourself shine and become something new that you haven't let yourself become before. So the Death and Rebirth card is really strong for you with this. I would say the whole eclipse season is going to be very strong for you. I would imagine there's going to be a lot going on, and you're going to come out of this time having made a lot of changes internally, and then that's going to play out, of course, externally, but you're going to feel like, you know, a new person on some level is what I'm getting. Taurus, what is your full moon about? Okay, you have the Five of Swords. So, you know, you can see this is a guy who's perturbed. He's worried, you know. He looks like, oh God, he's got a headache. The crow is almost chewing on his hair, wanting to get his attention, and it's like, oh, go away. I can't listen to this anymore. But see, the crows, if you look, the crows are flying ahead, and then there's a man who's sort of either he's jumping or he's being like teleported up into the air. So the thing is, Taurus, you have a propensity to worry too much all the time, right? And the crow is asking you to go through whatever death and rebirth as well. Crows definitely show up when there is transformation and rebirth. So it's interesting that in this deck that the crows rule the suit of air, because it lends to me a more deeper positive aspect to the air element. Yeah. So what you need to do is allow whatever changes and signs that are coming up to your attention. Not worry about them so much and go with them. Because look at the beam of light that he's either jumping down from or being transported upwards to. You know, there's this huge column of light. There's this completely different feeling of like diving into the unknown. And there are messengers because these crows, there's a number of them leading towards there. So you especially have to pay attention to signs that you're getting right now, whether that's dreams, whether that's something somebody said, a song that came up, something that struck you. You decided you're going to walk a different way or drive a different way today, and something happens. Like, you really have to pay attention to the signs and get out of your head, get out of the worrying. All right. Gemini, what's coming up for your full moon? Now, for Gemini, it might not be bad because you've got the moon and Pluto in air signs, and it'll make a trine for you. Could be a good time for you. So you have the Page of Cups. So look at the energy emanating from his heart, from his chest. You know, that just shows. Then you've got this imaginary hand. He has his hand on his knee, but then you've got the two hands behind it making the heart. Almost with a little gift inside. So there's some sort of love in the air. Then you look at his hair, how it's blowing or pointing towards this other vision. And he's looking up to that vision, like sort of, you know, when we look up and to the, up and to the left, we're sort of thinking about, I think up and to the left is thinking about the past. It's either thinking about possibilities or it's trying to jog your memory. I can't remember. One to the right might be like trying to figure out past. Yeah, I think it's the past. And then it's interesting because you've got these shoes, which are, well, you know, they're nice shoes. So the person's doing okay. It's funny, we see his legs floating, but we don't see his legs when he's sitting down. And then look at this. We see like a golden sort of bowl, and then we see a pig that's flying. So I find that pretty hilarious. Then we've got all these little stars and symbols. So it's like almost like the person is sitting there daydreaming about relationships or what's possible for him. And it's almost like, well, when pigs can fly, then maybe that's when I'll find somebody, or when there's something he thinks is not possible, but actually it is possible. So if you're sort of daydreaming about something, you know, and you think, no, that's not possible. Nah, I would like to meet somebody, but nah, I don't know if it's going to work. Or yeah, like it's just giving me this feeling of like, don't be cynical. You know, there's energy radiating out from his heart. There is love there. He's just focused on like what he thinks is like, yeah, whatever, it's not going to work. But right beside him, if you look down the other direction, there's love right there for him. So, you know, that doesn't have to be like a lover, you know, or a romance. It can just be understanding the love that is in your life already. Maybe you're not thinking that you've got a sister that loves you. Maybe you're not thinking that or realizing that you've got friends and relatives and neighbors and community members that really appreciate you. There's love around you. So it's interesting. There's something about you letting go of some cynicism here. Cancers, what is your full moon going to be about? And with that Libra Aries axis, it will probably bring up some stuff. Okay. Well, there you have it. 8 of Cups, walking away. She's setting down her bowl, you know. The bowl is on fire. She's burning something and letting it float. Goodbye. I'm done with. And some of you that might be toxic relationships, some of you that might be, I'm not interested in hanging out with that, going to that place anymore. Some of you that might be, I'm tired of what I've been doing. That could be habits you want to change and break, then you just let go of something. That could be the way you see yourself, the way you have carved out your path in your work, maybe. But there is something that you need to let it go, let it burn, walk away, just be done. Just finally let it be done, And look at the white robes, and she's walking away with the feather, and she's walking towards the sun. And it seems to me like a very strong, peaceful action to walk away and let go. And we see this message over and over again for Cancer, but Cancer, we have such a hard time letting go. Like truly, we might know we need to, but have we done it? So that's where I love the image of something burning in the bowl. Maybe there's something of a small ritual you could do for yourself that would involve that. You can get anything. You can get a little dish, you can get a little metal bowl, something safe. You could write something down that you no longer want in your life, and you could let it burn for real, like a little ritual. Sometimes those are, well, they're very powerful. That's why we still do them. That's why we've done them for centuries. So you might want to think about making a little altar for yourself and think about, what do I need to really walk away from? Because you've done the thinking and the overthinking and the worrying and the crying and whatever for years. Like, it's time, it's enough, it's enough, it's enough. We're still breaking through. We're still breaking through from the Pluto in Capricorn chapter, where there's still some things to clean up and burn and walk away from that chapter. So it's a continuation. All right. Leos, what's happening for you this full moon? Oh, and you have the 5 of Wands. Okay. All right. So if you're trying to manage people or trying to hope everybody's on board together, they're just not. You might have to find that one guy who's the helper, he's holding his leg up while he's getting the job done. Other people are just distracted, others are falling. So you may need to make some choices to cut your losses. If you're overly focused on certain projects or people, like there's ones that are going to work and there's some that they're just not going to. This could translate to, you might need to fire somebody. You might need to remove yourself from a committee. You might be asking that, you have a delay on a certain deadline or project because there's just another one that's more interesting or working out better. The one that's supposed to happen, the people will be there. They will be there to step up and help. The ones that are floundering or where you're trying too hard, they're not meant to be right now. So the peaceful way out of it is just to see, well, okay, I wish there was a team of 6, but there's only 3 of us. So stick with it. Those 3 are working, and the ones where there's distraction or they're too much of a struggle, you need to set them down right now. That could even mean friends or people you're spending too much time worrying about. Go with what is working right now. That's the message. Go with the things that are working easily right now. Path of least resistance. All right. We're going to look at Virgo now. Virgo, what is your full moon message, Virgo? You got the King of Wands. Very nice. The lion. And his wand even has a crown on it. And he's got like a red salamander on him. Very confident guy. Looks like a hunter, but maybe he doesn't need to hunt anymore. Lions behind him shows the strength, the pride the people behind him have in his back. This guy is confident in what he's doing. He knows what he's worth and what he's presenting, and he's got people behind his back. So Virgo, are you in that situation? If you're not, you need to be. Think about it. Where are you really confident? Doesn't matter what people say, you know what you're doing. Where or what aspect of your life do people have your back or step up and say you're really good at your work, or I believe you, you know what, I'm on your side about that. This tells you where to go. That's where you put your energy right now. What a lovely, strong message for Virgo. I love that. I love that. All the other head noise, if it's not that situation, confidence and they have my back, bye-bye. Bye. Okay. Libras. Now, this will be a big time for you as well. With all of the Libra and Aries energies that we mentioned, this is going to be a big chapter change for you too. So let's see. Libras. Oh. Okay, well, you've got the Page of Pentacles. So it's very sort of hippie tomboy. To me, I would use those words. I'm Gen X. That's what it looks like. Maybe to some of you watching, it looks like you'd call it something else. So I'm not trying to offend. This is somebody who's sort of cool, has their own style, a little more introverted, keeping their thoughts and their projects to themselves, but clearly they're dancing or balancing on something, looks like a sacred sort of symbol. And the mandala that they're holding also shows like this person has a lot going on inside, a lot of inner harmony, beauty, a lot of projects on the go, music, friends. This is a person who keeps to themselves, even though they've got a lot to show, a lot in their inner life. Definitely a strong message to get out in nature. And also, just like I said, for Cancers, you might benefit from doing some sort of ritual to connect with yourself right now, because there's so much intensity in your relationship area. With all that Aries, it's like, you might feel the need for some solitude. You might just want to pull back and do some things that are just for yourself and not lose yourself in the fray of whatever frenzy or whatever it's bringing out in the people around you. Yeah, it's like just sort of, she's like this, right? She's just like, I'm here. I'm just like, I'm not facing you, but I'm here. And I'm busy. My mind is busy. I'm not available for everything, you know? So you might need some time like that. All right. So Scorpios, what's going on for your full moon? All right, we've got the Knight of Swords. And again, like the crow guiding him. Well, he's like running from something or running to something. There's a bike up there. Like, is he running to the bike to get somewhere, to save somebody? Is he running away from people who are chasing him? And he needs the bike to get to safety, But the crow is leading him on the path he needs to go. So even though there's some stressful things going on, you are being given some signs as to where the right path is for you. But it looks like there's a bit of complication in your life. Now, it's interesting too, the red shoes, everything else is sort of bland in the card, but the shoes are red. The feet are hot. He's running. He needs to keep moving and walking and running right now. Also the crossbow, Sort of hard to, like, it doesn't feel to me like he's hunting the crow. Hopefully not. But You know, he is definitely hunting. And we also are aware that he has a watch on his hand. You know, so it's like there's something going on where you have to move quickly and time is of the essence, right? Your timing means everything. And I would say whatever this is, you need to move quicker than you're normally comfortable with. You know, you're a water sign and this is an air sign. It's like, you know, you'd rather not have to run and push the midnight oil or burn yourself out for something because it's got to be done quickly, but it feels like something's got to be done quickly for you. All right. Sagittarius, what's next for you with the full moon? What's your full moon about? Oh, that's nice. Nine of Cups. There's sort of like a jubilation here. She's found some treasure. She's won the lottery. Yeah, right? Well, all of that fire in Aries is emphasizing you in a good way. You know, it's your fifth house, which is creativity, romance. You're awakening, you're feeling connected to life, you feel abundant. Maybe you're floating a little bit too high. Just be careful. She's like sort of flying. Just be aware, like if you're in a very high-minded place or, you know, optimistic place, things going well, just know like they go well for now, enjoy it, but things don't last like that forever. Just to not overdo it or indulge or take things for granted. But other than that, your full moon looks quite good. There's some sort of sense of celebration for you. Yeah. I get a feeling of celebration and liberation, like you're free to do something you've been wanting to do. Maybe something lucky happened. Maybe some funding came in. Maybe somebody said, sure, I can help you. I can do that for you. And now you can facilitate something you wanted. Or if it's love, well, there's 9 cups. So I don't know. Maybe you're feeling pretty popular. It's not really a monogamous kind of card in this feeling. Yeah, I think you're going to have a nice full moon time, actually. One of the few. Well, Virgo has a great message too, gotta say. All right, Capricorn, what's up for you with this full moon? Ah, you've got the Knight of Wands. That's nice. And the horse is dancing, and the guy is just like, looks like Bon Jovi getting into his drum here. Playful, creative, funky, rock star. Yeah, I sort of like that as your MO for this full moon. Let's call this your rock star full moon. Get into your rock star mode. You know, that's how you can embody sort of the balance of like, okay, if Libra wants to have more meetings about something, or Pluto and Aquarius wants to talk about things that are global, well, you'll put on that leadership hat. But if we're going towards the Aries side, you're down for the party as well. You just got to be in your like, whatever it is, I'm there. Whatever it is, I'll go with it. I'll roll with it. I know who I am. You know, this is very confident. Look at the fire in this card, you know. Very confident, playful, having fun. Maybe literally you need to just dance or listen to music right now. But I like this because I feel like you're versatile. You can go like in any direction right now. So that's very affirming for you. That's a great message. Aquarius, what is your full moon going to be like? Got Temperance. Interesting. So as you see, you know, he's cross-legged, but it's not really a meditative pose. One leg is down in a meditative pose and thinking, and it's it looks like a darker moon. Could be the moon, could be the sun and moon, they're juggling. So the side that's relaxed in a meditation way with the moon sign and the hand is down. You have to be receptive to listening to your emotions and to resting. But then the other leg is like ready to get up. Looks like he's ready to bounce up and stand, and it's got the sun, and we see the hand. So you might be torn or conflicted, you know, between like, how much should I be doing? How much should I not be doing? How much should I rest? How much should I be pushing forward and active? How much should I be like reflecting and just allowing life to happen? Temperance is always about timing. There's always many things at play with temperance that are bigger than us. You know, I love the angel wings behind him and the sun, the light behind him. So he's figuring out how to balance himself, how to listen to things, how to sense the right timing, because there's something higher calling you right now. You have you know, Pluto is in your sign. You have a strong role to play over the next 20 years. So you're rebalancing yourself and your perspective and the way you see the world right now. So you have to take some time to rest. So I think this is a beautiful card, although Aquarians are going to hate that because you're restless people. You want to be just doing, but it would benefit you to stop and think and rest as well. You're going to be more effective. Yeah, that's a beautiful card. And Pisces, you've also got so many planets going on that I'm sure you're feeling this full moon time as well. So Pisces, what's going on for your full moon? You've got the 7 of Cups. Okay. So you're a little overwhelmed with too many people, too many possibilities, too many what ifs, too many theories, too many storylines at once. Like there's a lot of, you know, the guy has confusion on his face over all the choices, trying to figure out what's real and what's not real. Yeah. Which makes sense with all the Pisces planets, because there's always a feeling of like dreaminess or ethereal or inspired or covert, or, you know, is it real or not? He's surrounded by water. He's surrounded in clouds. There's snakes and ladders and bat wings and roads. And if we were there, it would be very hard to know, well, what am I supposed to do with these? If I lift up one cup, what the heck is under there? You might be contemplating, do I really want to uncover that, what's underneath something or someone? These could represent projects or people that you know, or options that you're thinking of. And you're really not sure, like, if I do that, what's going to happen? You know, the message I get is that, you know, it's not quite time to decide. You know, like that Aries energy would just be telling you, just open it, man. Just lift up a cup. Like it'll just see what happens. It'll be fine. And then the Libra side is like, there's so many, like, let's think about all of them, or how could this be more orderly, or how could we, and you don't want to stay in either of those really. You're a Pisces. So what you want to do is feel out, am I ready to look a little deeper at this one thing? Am I ready to commit a little more to this one path or person, and take a little step and feel it out instead of, oh, big reveal, you know, like an Aries thing. Using your intuition is really important right now, and going a bit slower. Things will get bigger during the total solar eclipse, and it'll be clearer what you've got to do. So my friends, if you would like to reach me for a private session, like as I said, I'm revamping some of the things I'm offering. And if you would like to come out to my intuition cafes, I'd love to have you. If you're in the Montreal area, or if you want to do them online, message me and tell me you want to do them online with me, and I will set those up again. And I wish everybody a happy full moon. Sit tight. We're going to be back with more stuff on the total solar eclipse as well. All right. Take care.